sort of highlights something annually, an anniversary of some sort. And so it turned out that in 1941, there was the creation of the stadium we now know as the Dietrich Park. Has a little bit of history behind it, and in fact, earlier today I interviewed Russ Eklund, who just had left, and Durwood Swanson, who were there at the beginning, 1941. So if we could run this 3-minute clip, and then I'm going to call up Randy Anderson to sort of wrap our head around it, and then we have a real special guest.
My name is Robert Peterson, and I am the author of Only the Ball Was White, which is a history of Negro baseball before Jackie Robinson. In researching that book, I discovered that Jamestown is worth a large footnote in the history of Negro baseball because it was receptive to black players at a time when most cities were not. In 1890 and 1891, Jamestown was represented in the old New York Penn League. This is a league that preceded the league that the Jammers are in now, by a team, and the first baseman for that team was a man named R.A. Kelly. Kelly was a black man. He had played earlier in Danville, Illinois, in a league there. And the Jamestown papers, interestingly, never referred to the fact that he was black. Jamestown area was represented in the late 19th century by two other entries. Both were in a league called the Iron and Oil League, which was a minor league.
Here's Allen Park, 2000, and visualize, if you will, Johnny Newman hitting a home run down this left field line.
My job this morning is to tell you how Dietrich Park got started way back in 1941. It actually started in November of 1938 when representatives of 21 cities met in Olean to discuss the feasibility of organizing a new professional baseball league. At that meeting, Jamestown, Olean, and Niagara Falls made commitments to field teams in that league if the league ever took off. The following spring, March of 1939, the Pennsylvania, Ontario, New York League, Pony, Pennsylvania, Ontario, New York League, became official when Bradford, Batavia, and Hamilton joined with those three other teams, Jamestown, Olean, and Niagara Falls. Stuart McGuire, who was the sports editor of the Jamestown Evening Journal, headed up the Jamestown entry. They called themselves the Independent Jamestown Baseball and Exhibition Company. Whew, that's a lot of words. They would field the Jamestown team. Just 9 days before the season started, Stuart McGuire became overwhelmed with the financial and time pressures of running the team, in addition to his job at the Post-Journal. So Mr. McGuire transferred control of the team to William F. Broadhead, a well-known Jamestown businessman. The team was known as the Jamestown Jockeys, and they would play their home games at Celeron Park. 1 week into the season, the Pittsburgh Pirates made an offer to purchase the Jamestown team from the local investors. Their offer was accepted, and they renamed their team the Jamestown Pirates. The Jamestown Pirates ended the 1937 season in the basement of the Pony League, and more trouble was on the horizon. The business manager of the Jamestown Pirates, Jim Matthews, informed Jamestown City Council that the ball field at Celeron Park was no longer acceptable for professional baseball, and that the team would leave if a new stadium was not constructed within Jamestown city limits. True to their word, following the 1931 season, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the owners of the Jamestown team, left the city and moved their club to London, Ontario. So Jamestown was without a ball team heading into the 1940 Pony League season. However, in June of 1940, it was reported that Harry Biscayr, the owner of the Niagara Falls Rainbows, was unhappy with his stadium in Niagara Falls, and that he would be willing to move his team to Jamestown if he received assurances that a new stadium would be built within the city. Such assurances were given to Mr. Biscayr, and he moved his Niagara Falls team to Jamestown in July of 1940. He renamed his team as the Jamestown Falcons, and they played their home games at Allen Park on the city's south side for the remainder of the 1940 season. You saw a little bit of clip there of the Falcons playing their home games at Allen Park. For those of us who have played a lot of different sports up to Allen Park, it's hard to imagine that that was a professional baseball field in 1940. Ernest Kessler, a former Jamestown City Councilman, was the chairman of the Citizens Committee that was charged with raising funds for the construction of a new stadium. Judge Allen Barger was also instrumental in soliciting funds for the group that purchased a 20-acre plot of land on Falconer Street. Construction commenced in the fall of 1940 and was completed in time for the 1941 season. Municipal Stadium was its name. It was built for a total cost, Tony, you listening? They built Municipal Stadium for $60,000. At the season opening game, city officials, local businessmen, the Jamestown Falcons, and the visiting Batavia Clippers, those cursed folks from Batavia, marched down the first baseline, through the outfield grass to shallow center field. The American flag, red, white, and blue with 48 stars, was raised on the center field flagpole as a bugler played the national anthem. Jamestown Mayor Leon Roberts stepped to the microphone in front of the pitcher's mound and addressed the sellout crowd. Christian, pay attention, 4,200 people at the opening game of 1941. There's a mark for you to go for. This is what Mayor Roberts said. What we see here today is not merely brick and mortar. It's not just a field enclosed by a fence. What we see here today is an enduring monument to the efficacy of civic enterprise. I welcome the Falcons to their new home. We hope it will be the scene of many triumphs. We give them our best wishes, and we give them our hearts. We pledge our earnest support, and we know in turn they pledge their loyalty to the city and to give their best efforts. It was Municipal Stadium, later known as College Stadium, when JCC was built behind the right field fence in the early 60s, and now, as Greg mentioned, Russell E. Dietrich Jr. Park since 1997. That would be the sign of many triumphs, 30 of them last year under Frank Jagoda. Mayor Roberts predicted as well that there would be inevitable failures that are part of the game of baseball. While none of the folks who attended the opening game in 1941, Durwood Swanson among them, could have imagined the rich history that would ensue over the next 85 years. It's a legacy that the Jamestown Tarp Skunks are proud to continue. 85 years. Let's go Skunks.
As we saw that highlight clip, we saw the fact that we had Johnny Newman hitting home runs. Now, if you saw that clip at Allen Park, if you think about where that left field line kind of ended up in really the tennis court, that's about a mile away. So I don't know if there was must have been a fence, some sort of fence there. But anyways, Johnny Newman, we're blessed to have his son, Jeff Newman, here. And I know Jeff and John were very close. I had the privilege of being on the Collins Sports Shop team, Babe Ruth, and Johnny was my manager. Jeff was a very young bat boy at the time. Still much younger than me. So with all that, with Falcons jersey on, come on up, Jeff, and share a story or two. That'd be great.
Well, as you know, I'm Jeff Newman, and I'm here to talk about my dad, Johnny Newman, a.k.a. Big John, Sultan the SWAT, the Blonde Bomber, Butch the Blaster, or just Johnny. In honor of 85 years of baseball in Jamestown, I'd like to share some of these stories I have of my dad's time here in Jamestown. His professional career started in 1935 as a player and ended as a manager in 1946-47 in Hamilton, Ontario. He did some amazing things in baseball over the years. Probably more than I can talk about, but he was a very humble guy. You'd never hear it from him. He never knew, I didn't know, the stuff that he did until later on. And the people who were close to him said he was a gentleman's gentleman. While managing the Hamilton team, he came to Jamestown for a game. Kids were all outside saying, I want to be the bad boy, I want to be the bad boy. And one kid yelled out, he said, I'll do it for free, I just want to see the game. So my dad looked at all these kids out there, and he says, well, we'll all see the game today. So he took his 2 bags of equipment, dumped them on the ground, and said, hey, everybody grab a bat, ball, glove, whatever's there, shin guard, come out with me. So he gets to the gate, and there's the general manager. He says, Johnny, what are you doing? He says, what are all these kids here for? He says, these guys are my equipment managers. He said, what are you talking about? He said, I can't let all these kids in. He says, well, no equipment, no game. Off they went, all of them, into the game. Another good story from my dad is they're playing Buffalo in an exhibition game. So Greg Malevy's going over the rules with Al Vincent, the head of the Buffalo team, and Malevy's the head of the Jamestown team, managing it. And he says, listen, he goes, anything that hits the scoreboard out there, which was 405 feet away, he says, it's a home run. Vincent says, get out of here. Nobody's going to hit that far. Goes back to the dugout. 2 innings later, my dad gets up. Not only hits one in center field, but he takes one of the numbers out of the scoreboard. Vincent never came out of the dugout after that. He stayed right there. There was a bunch of guys in a group called IPWNC, which stood for I Played with Newman Club. Frank Smirker, who played for my dad in Hamilton, but also played with him here in Jamestown, tells this story of they were in Hornell. He goes, and this pitcher gets out there, and he throws a flame just right by my dad. My dad looks at the catcher, kind of amused, calls it a strike. Second one, same thing. He turns around to him, he says, hey, what's this guy throwing, bullets? Catcher says, just get ready for the third one. Well, that third one came, and 500 feet later, it bounced off the schoolhouse. So, I didn't get that. I didn't get that strength. Anyway, here's another story of my dad. He's at the stadium, and I might be wrong on the umpire, but I'm going to go with it anyway. He's up at bat. Pitcher throws a strike. My dad whips around, looks at him, and says, wow, that was a good pitch. And they start booing. Fans start going crazy. They're booing. Second pitch, same thing. Another strike. Booing. Turns around and says, boy, that was a good pitch. Again, booing. So I think the story went that Joe Nelbone was the umpire. And he said, look at Johnny, you do that again, they're going to come out here and kill me. In 1941, my dad got the key to the city of Jamestown as a baseball honor. A telegram from Samuel Stroth, mayor at Jamestown, states, Dear Johnny, last year we gave you the key to the city and we meant it. We're glad you're going to use it this year, and we mean that too. We'll be looking for you, old roly-poly. And we'll be here looking for that second pennant. You just keep that swing of yours in shape and come back home and hit that spheroid over the stadium walls. By the way, we're going to paint the fence this year, and we won't care if you knock the paint off of it. Good luck and good batting. I just want to say thank you to a couple people, my wife for helping me put that together, because I wouldn't have been able to do that. And I'd like to thank the opportunity of talking about 85 years of baseball. And most of the time, I got the stories after. I had no idea. So the guys who got to see him play and played with him, they were some stories. Thank you again.